This is Penny Farthing Catapult, which is a print-on-demand card game designed by Daniel Salas. It says here on the tagline that it is a silly game of Newtonian physics. And, I would agree with that assessment, on the silly part at least. Everybody is going to get a little catapult card. There are 4 of them in the game in these various colors. What you're supposed to do is fold these cards in half so they're kind of like a tent shape. Either do that or don't. It doesn't really matter. They're just, there to mark where your space is. Or if you don't like the cards, you could replace them with cubes or pawns. Or you want to go all out, you could go get some catapult minis and play the game that way. What you're going to do is you're going to deal out a circle of 12 cards on the table, and the game will come with an example of where you need to place the catapults depending on your player count. Mostly the idea is that just people are evenly distributed across the field, not like right next to each other to start the game out. So in a 2-player game, they're opposite ends. In a 3-player game, it's a triangle formation, and in a 4-player game, it's a square. So what are you doing in Penny Farthing Catapult? Well, you are nobles who are dealing with your issues the only way that old-timey nobles would do. You're going to load up your catapults and shoot random antiques at each other. So the goal of the game, there are 10 different suits, ranging values 1 through 5, and you want to collect ideally one of every suit, and you want the highest numbers possible in those suits, because scoring at the end, you're going to score the lowest value of each suit you've collected. So if you have a 1 and a 5 in the art category, you would only score the 1. So you want to get high numbers whenever possible. Setup is going to be, you're going to deal, after you've set up the circle of 12 cards, you're going to deal 4 cards to each player and have your catapults out there and you're ready to go. You're going to start with the youngest player, and on your turn you're going to take a card from your hand and you're going to fire it. So if I chose to play this 1 art card, this is saying that I am going to fire 1 space, and I would choose which direction to either side of me I wanted to fire it. Wherever it fires and lands, so you count out the spaces in the circle, you're going to take the card where that would end up. So if I'm firing this 1 art card, 1 space to the left of me, I'm going to pick up the card that was in that space and put it in my collection. So say it was this 2 money. So this is now in my collection and I have it. The card I fired goes in the space where I immediately just picked up a card from, and then I'm going to move my catapult in the opposite direction from where I shot, an equal number of spaces. So because I fired 1 space in one direction, I move backward 1 space in the opposite direction. And at the end of my turn, I'm going to draw a card off the top of the deck and add it back to my hand, if able, and that's it. If, on a future turn, I go to fire and I have this 2 money in my collection and I try to fire this 3 money card, you can use any cards that are in your collection as modifiers for your firing card. So normally I would only be able to fire this in 3 spaces to the left or right of my location. Because I have 1 money card, I can modify that by plus or minus 1, so I could make it either a 2 or a 4 shot. And that can be really helpful to give you choices for where you're firing, so it can be a good idea to get some variety of things in your collection to make it more likely that you'll be able to modify things. The amount that you're able to modify is going to be equal to the number of cards that you have in that suit in your collection. So if I had 2 money cards in my collection, then that would mean I could do a plus or minus 2 to whatever card I'm firing. Obviously, you can't do that with you can't modify a card down to 0, because that wouldn't make any sense. You'd be shooting at the ground and you wouldn't move anywhere, and that wouldn't be Newtonian physics. So you can't do that. You have to fire at least one space. If someone has their catapult parked on the space that you hit with an object, then you're going to make them drop something out of their collection, if they have anything. And they get to choose what they drop, and whatever they drop is just removed from the game. So in this context, it's a good idea to have maybe some disposable items if you think you're going to be a target for getting hit. And at the same time, you might want to pay attention to what people have, because if someone has a 1 and a 5, you might not want to hit them, because they would choose to throw away that 1, and then they'd effectively gain 4 points because you hit them. So unless you plan on immediately hitting them again, it's probably best to keep an eye on those sorts of situations when you're choosing to fire at someone. If multiple people are parked on a single space, you'll hit both of them at the same time, and they'll both have to drop something from their collection. So 2 people or even 3 people in one space could make a very tempting target. The game is going to continue until everyone has run out of cards to play. So you're going to keep drawing cards off of the top of the deck until the deck is gone, and then you'll keep playing until you've used up the cards from your hands. And once you're done with that, you're going to look at all of the cards in your collection, and you're going to sum up the lowest values of each suit that you have. Anything that's higher value in the same suit is just worth nothing. So if I had a 2 and a 3 money card, I would only get 2 points for the money suit. Whoever has the most points is the most gentlemanly catapulter. Let's have a catapult.
Who goes first?
It doesn't. I don't think it says. So whoever is the most excited about
Catapults.
Newton.
Newton. I'm not the most excited about Newton.
Well, that's you.
I don't even know what I'm doing.
Doesn't matter. You've got 4 cards in your hand.
Play one of them.
You want to play one of them,
direction.
and the number on the card is going to be how far you shoot and how far back you move in the opposite direction. So look at the things that are on the board. You want to collect high-value things.
Okay.
And if you're super playing into the future, you can use the things you collect to adjust your firepower in the future.
Alright, so if I put a 4 down, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4?
Or 1, 2, 3, 4. The other way. It goes whichever direction you want.
Either here or here.
Okay. I guess I'll play a 1, and I'm going to shoot
The jewelry?
Yeah.
Okay, so put the 1 where the jewelry was. The jewelry is now in your collection, not in your hand. So it's in front of you. And now you move in the opposite direction 1 space. And you draw 1 card, and now it's your turn.
Okay.
Oh, those aren't great options. Great. Okay, well, I'm going to play this 3 of spoons, which is going to swap out with this 1 of spoons. So I've collected the 1 spoon, and 1, 2, 3 over here.
I shoot this fruit. Did you draw your card?
Yeah.
I shoot 5.
And if you shoot Bonnie, she'll drop her 5 of jewelry. Just saying.
True.
And it's gone from the game if that happens.
Cruel.
Looks so pretty on me.
I'm gonna shoot Bonnie.
Well, there it goes.
Oh.
Okay, so what happens then?
So it just like normal, it'll go in the spot where she's sitting.
Okay, this does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you'll pick up the 1 of art. But you made her drop a 5.
Yeah.
And you move in the opposite direction and draw a card. You're gonna retaliate, head towards him so you can shoot him. You can shoot me if you have a 1. You'll have to pick up the wigs of 1 though, so it might not be worth it.
Can I shoot around you?
Yeah, you can shoot past him.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we're in catapults.
Yeah.
They can fire in a circular arc.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a very small planet. That's why the gravity's so low that it throws your
Alright.
catapult all the way around the world.
I'm gonna spend my art and I'm gonna shoot Josh.
And Rob.
And me?
Yeah. You guys both drop your cards.
Wow.
Out of the game.
You helped Josh and hurt me. It's jacked up.
Alright?
And then
And you move in the opposite direction of where you fired. And you draw 1.
This is 1, 2, 3, 4.
Did you
oh,
fire
did I do
a
4? Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Okay.
So I can't take cards from my hand and just put them to my collection.
No.
Okay.
I will fire this 3 of instruments and hit Bonnie and make her drop that 2 of jewelry.
Why? Why does everyone want to make?
It has nothing to do with that. I just want this 4 of rubbish really bad. So, and I
I
move
just like to get rid of my
1,
pretty
2, 3
things.
that way, so that someone can shoot me and make me drop
I know
my
there's no jewelry.
stuff.
I hope you're happy.
I guess I just shoot this spoon. I shot the spoon, you guys.
I shoot Sean.
Oh, I drop my 1 of spoons.
And get the 2 of 4 of fruit. It's you.
Do I want to just be mean and make you keep dropping things?
That's seems to be what you should do, always.
Potentially.
I'm gonna shoot my cake.
The 2 of cakes.
And I'm gonna hit Josh. And I'm gonna move this way. Well, you
You got the 1 of money.
oh man, all them dollars. I know I should have gone for the 4, but I don't care.
I mean, I don't know. If someone shoots you, you'll drop that 1 of money later.
Oh. Wait. Josh is green, I'm yellow. We're in the wrong spots.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay.
I moved the wrong catapults.
And so I moved the one that was still sitting in the
Yeah.
spot that.
Yep. It was my bad.
Alright. Well, I will shoot this 1 of wigs with my 3 of money.
Seems good.
Hang on with those instruments.
I'm gonna shoot some wigs. Oh, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. I want some wigs at these
That
dollars. And that means that I go 1, 2, 3, 4 and end up over there on that money.
I'm going to shoot some money at this art.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Rob.
What?
Actually, I can't do anything to you. Never mind. I don't like this game. I'm going to, I guess, shoot Josh
Cold.
for the French horn. a blue French horn.
Oh.
Oh,
So
I need to draw a card.
Move your card in the opposite direction.
Oh, right. Okay, so that was 2.
2.
1, 2. Make sure I'm, like, in.
Are you yellow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait. Okay. Yeah. That's
Yeah. We're all the correct colors again.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was just you and I that swapped briefly, and I messed up.
I'm gonna shoot my 5 of wigs, but I'm gonna use my 1 wigs to adjust it and make it a 6.
A 6
So I'm
of
gonna
wigs.
shoot you all the way across.
Terrible.
Take this 3 of money. And it doesn't matter because there's 12 cards, so I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, end up where you are. So you can't shoot me back.
Okay. Okay. Well.
How's it feel to get wig bombed?
It felt terrible. I'm going to launch some French horns at these wigs. And that's going to put me 1, 2, 3, 4 here on these French horns.
I'll shoot some fruit at these instruments.
Man. I hate this game. I guess I'll throw these books at this trumpet. Oh, sorry, I didn't draw a card.
I'm gonna fire some books at these 2 of wigs.
I got bad news for you. I'm going to launch some cake at you.
I dropped my wigs.
I'm gonna shoot some cake at these books.
I'm gonna shoot some jewelry. This money.
I'm gonna shoot
I keep forgetting to do that.
art at these cakes. Let me go 1, 2, 3, 4.
So if you're launching things that you already have, it's plus. You can add
Plus or
plus
minus.
1, plus or
Add
minus.
Or minus. Or subtract.
Plus or minus the number you have.
Well, then I am gonna shoot wigs at Bonnie and this cake.
Aww.
Wig bombed.
Oh. What do I have to get rid of?
Just one of your
things.
cards,
Hey,
preferably your one low value card. So like that 1 of money is worth nothing to you.
Or the one of instruments is also.
Well, but oh yeah, either way.
Yeah, either
Either
one
way,
is
they're
worth.
like exactly
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
The only thing that would change your mind is what is in your hand right now if you
Yeah.
want to use them as modifiers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't move myself for launching 2 spaces.
Did you draw the last
something
card just
I
now?
did.
I think I should have it because I only have 3 cards in my hand.
That's you then.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm shooting silverware at this art over here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, Bonnie, now's the time to start shooting people and making them drop all their good stuff.
That is a good time. Let's see.
Do you have to add or subtract?
No.
Okay.
Alright, I'm gonna throw my rubbish at Sean.
I'm going to drop my 2 of wigs, which I now cannot use as a modifier. I'm going to fire this jewelry at those wigs. Yeah, go ahead and move yourself.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, so one,
I was here.
3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I will. Yeah. I'm going to. Either way, it's going to be bad for me. I'm going to launch some fruit at this rubbish.
It's not even worth any points to you. Unless someone shoots you.
And then I go 1, 2, 3.
It's a bold gambit.
It seems pretty likely that somebody would try to shoot 2 people stacked up.
Well, he's going to move. Right?
I'm going to use to shoot instruments for 4 and hit Bonnie.
Why?
Because he wants that silverware.
He wants it bad. Alright, so there's the 1 of money.
2, 3, 4.
And that means you... Yeah, you're okay, you're there. Okay.
I guess I'm just gonna hit Josh and take a spoon.
And you go.
That's wrong.
Yeah. 1, 2. Oh, sorry. I'm just like really not capable of tracking which person is which color right now. Alright, so.
And I'm going to lose that.
Okay. I'm going to fire these cakes and modify them by 1 to get this jewelry of 4. So there are 3 cakes there, and that makes me go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Terrible. I guess I'm gonna shoot this fruit with these cakes.
I'm going to shoot these cakes with these books. Which is the 2 back there.
I was going to shoot you. Good job.
It's going to move someplace.
Guess I'm gonna shoot these books.
Okay.
And so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. I'm gonna fire a 1 jewelry and modify it to make it a 2 to grab those instruments. Put myself over here so someone can shoot me when they take this silverware.
I shoot you and take that spoon.
Really hoping no one shoots you so you only get 1 point for your rubbish.
I'm shooting Bonnie. Modifying my art for 1. Total 1.
Okay, so Bonnie, you want to drop your instrument now. You want to drop the instrument of 2 because that's... yeah.
I'm gonna lose anyway.
Yeah, but that gives you more points from
Okay.
him shooting you.
Yeah. Oh, and time.
I already moved you.
Oh, okay.
Can you shoot either me or Josh? Or Rob, but Rob will gain heavily from getting shot.
But you could shoot me
You could,
and be my friend.
but if you did, then I would also try to shoot
You
you.
could go. There's a lot of things you can do because you do have money. So it's either here, 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 or here. You can shoot any of those spots.
And I don't want to have more of the same.
You don't want to have more of the same at this point.
Yeah.
Unless it's higher. In which case...
It doesn't
would
hurt
would
you.
actually
It would,
not.
yeah.
I guess I'm going to take a wig.
Okay.
So how many spots is that, Josh?
6.
6.
And now the thing you fired is in that spot. Okay.
The only thing about that is that it does put a target on you.
Because 5 is a lot. Yeah. So now you get shot.
Yep.
I only had, like, in my hand, high cards.
Yeah, but you could have done a 5 or a 4 and you wouldn't have landed on it.
Yeah.
So,
You only landed on it because you had a 6.
okay. And is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. So total up
Lowest in each
with the
suit.
exception of Rob, everyone just total up your cards. You're the only one who has 2 of a thing. $27.
20.
Bonnie.
12.
Okay. Good job, Sean.
I'm the petty Farthing Catapult. So that was that.
Yep.
It's a silly game of Newtonian physics.
Did you feel educated?
No.
Did you feel...
This was not at all what I expected it to be when, I read Silly Game about Newtonian physics.
Okay.
Like, I expected there to be a lot more
physics?
and, science-y things instead of just for every action there is an equal but opposite reaction of, our catapults being weightlessly thrown around and throwing cake at fruits.
Yeah. So I think the value in this game, if any, is hearing people repeatedly say things like, I fire my silverware at your garbage. Rubbish. It's rubbish.
Yeah, at that rubbish that's there next to you. Throw away one of your things.
I shoot my art at your cake.
Yeah.
I shoot my art at that cake so that I can collect it.
And I hit you in the process.
And I hit you, so you have to drop your instruments.
Yeah.
Um,
It's pretty silly and nonsensical.
it's pretty silly, But it's right there in the tagline. It tells you it's silly.
It does tell you that it is a silly game.
You know, it's not an expensive, overly produced game at all. It's a print on demand.
It's a deck of cards.
It's a deck of cards. It fits in a tiny deck box. If you order it online, then it will ship to you in a deck box, at least as of right now. When we made this, it still does that.
Yeah.
However, the catapult pieces that you use for player pieces, you're supposed to fold in half. I refused to do that because then it would no longer fit in the deck box. So,
and they wouldn't have shown up on the camera at all. They would have just been little rectangles if they were folded up.
I mean,
you wouldn't have been able to see what color anything was.
It might have already been kind of a poorly shot.
I don't know.
I didn't know how to shoot it.
Yeah,
like
it's definitely a tough game to get footage of.
So, you know, it's kind of a cheap, disposable card game, I think. And I don't mean it sort of disrespect by saying that, but you should not go into it. I don't think anybody would go into it with expectations of it being the greatest thing ever because of how cheap it is.
Yeah.
And it even sort of dismissing itself with its own tagline.
Yeah. That said, what did you think about it?
I think it's kind of like a puzzle.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know that you can really strategize around what other people are going to do because you can't see what's in their hands.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost feels like the things you do initially are kind of
pointless.
Yeah, you do whatever until you get to a point where suddenly you're not getting more cards in your hand, and now all you've got are these things.
I definitely felt like while we were playing it that it might have functioned better as like a game that was played in 3 rounds and scored. So, you know, everybody got, say, 6 or 8 cards, and you played those 6 to 8 cards and then scored. Took your whatever you had, you set those aside in a score pile, and then drew 6 to 8 more cards each, and then played another round.
And there's no reason why you can't do that.
Yeah, for sure. It just seemed to me like that would work a little bit better because that would offset exactly this problem where the start of the game feels kind of pointless because you can pick up things, but you're going to get hit. And in that first few turns, at least, you only have one thing to discard, so whatever you've picked up, you're going to discard.
I don't know if the circle should be bigger for a 4-player game so that you're not constantly under threat of getting shot, or that's just, you know, the more players you have, the more conflict that you have. I played it with 2 players first, and I felt like this isn't much of anything, and I think this probably needs to be played with 3 or 4.
And it was the same size circle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a 2-player game, it was kind of like, all right, well, I'm going to fire this 1 and pick this thing up, and I'm not in range of you, so I don't care. Yeah, it
definitely seems like with 2 players, it needs to be a smaller circle. That's probably the right size for 3 players. And with 4, maybe a bigger circle. That could be another solution to the same problem.
And, you know, in terms of, like, strategy, I don't know, really, because you can just get shot all the time.
Yeah.
What you're supposed to really do. Like, if I were playing it again right now, I might really try to get one of every suit rather than focusing on, like, high number cards, because you can use them as modifiers, and having that ability to modify the things that are in your hand could be really helpful. But you might also just pick up a bunch of 1s and 2s.
Yeah.
Based on what was just dealt out. I don't know if it needs more numbers in each suit or more or fewer suits.
It seemed to me like there were too many suits. That was my gut instinct while we were playing it.
But yeah, I don't... You know, for what it is, it's a small card game that you can play. I think it probably shouldn't really be selling itself like you already came into it, like you had some expectation of it being, I guess, a educational science game or something.
Well, it seemed like it was gonna, like, you know, it's a game about Newtonian physics. Like, I just expected there to be...
Is.
Yeah, I guess it is very vaguely about Newtonian physics. Like, if its tagline had been, you know, a silly game about catapults, that would have been... this would have been more in line with what I was expecting. Where Newtonian physics, you know, I just had a different mental image of what that game was going to be, I guess. So, why don't you launch a score at us? What do you think you would give
Well, the only other thing we haven't talked about is artwork.
Oh, sure.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything to contribute to that discussion, but I'm willing to state that
it has artwork.
It has artwork, and it's fine.
Yeah.
It could just be, you know, numbers and colors.
It's true.
But it's not. It has sort of old-timey...
books and cake and silverware and...
that matches the theme of what's happening. It tells you that, like, you're, you know, you're solving your problems the way that old-timey people solve problems, by firing antique objects at each other on catapults. Rating 4.
Yeah.
Like,
seems about right.
I know I've rated it. I rated it a long time ago when I played the 2-player game, and I don't remember what I gave it, but 4.
Okay.
Daniel Solis has several games that are sort of available as print on demand. My favorite is Koi Pond, which I think is far better than this, and I think is like the same price.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it really hard for me to be.
And as expansions.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, the expansions just let you play with more people mostly, but it does have.
But it has other things going on. Yeah.
And he did Kigi.
Mm-hmm.
He did Belle of the Ball, which is actually not a print-on-demand game. It's been produced.
You can read about Belle of the Ball and Kodama on our Tumblr.
It's true. So Daniel Solis does a lot of sort of smaller card games, and some of them are more effective at what they're trying to accomplish than others, I think. It's interesting that they all seem to be different. They do different things, and they emphasize different mechanics.
Yeah. None of them are wildly similar in any way that I can think of.
Another one that I didn't even mention just now is Ten Pen, which is also a print-on-demand, and it's about like throwing penguin cards, and you just slide them on a table.
Oh, yeah. I haven't played that.
No.
But you've told me about it.
Because we can't play it on this table.
Yeah, because it won't slide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is not a thing where you would find it in stores, and you would have to, I think, because it's print on demand, actually go and order it to get a copy, unless someone is selling or trading off the copy they already ordered.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really recommend people go for this one over other choices, specifically from that designer.
Yeah.
I would say if you only want to get one card game from Daniel Solis, go for Koi Pond. And I'm not trying to like shoot the game down at all, but I think it's kind of I could take or leave it.
Sure.
So
I think that's fair. All right. That's Penny Farthing Catapult.
So you're gonna like.
I thought about it, but
catapult it.
you know, it would. What if I hit the camera, or you know, like it would break, and then we wouldn't have.
Then I would have had to say Gadzooks. Yeah.
Twirl your mustache.
Is it still recording?
Yes.
Okay, then I got all of it. You'll never catch me! Not if I fire this cake at you!
Too late.
Ah!